Hysterical Plagues. In 1374, near the river Rhine, hundreds succumbed to a dancing plague, dancing for hours or days on end, with little break to rest or eat. Within weeks, the mania had engulfed large areas of northeastern France and the Netherlands, and only after several months did the epidemic subside. In 1491, a nunnery in the Spanish Netherlands was affected with not dancing, but an irresistible urge by the nuns to act as dogs, cats, or birds, racing around, climbing and jumping out of trees. Over the next 200 years, in nunneries everywhere, from Rome to Paris, hundreds were plunged into states of frantic delirium, committing various odd acts. The dancing plague, or dance epidemic, returned in 1518. It began with one woman by the name of Frau Troffea in Strasbourg, Alsace, modern-day France. It was July, and this woman just started uncontrollably dancing in the street. She continued this for weeks and was soon joined by about 36 more people, until by the end of August, around 400 people were caught up in this madness. Many collapsed. Some even had heart attacks or strokes and died. Authorities and physicians could find no reasoning for these goings-on, yet the latter prescribed that they dance themselves out of it. Guild halls and musicians were made to accommodate the dancers, as well as others who were charged care of those aiding the dancers. But this proved unattainable. The authorities then tried to ban public dancing and even music, as people feared this was some kind of punishment, and to be free of sin, they kept joining the dancing. Authorities then ordered those who danced to go to the shrine of St. Vitius, to wear red shoes with crosses painted on them and doused in holy water, bearing incense and holy crosses until forgiven and the dancing stopped. Popular theories for the cause include food poisoning caused by the toxic and psychoactive chemical products of the ergot fungi, which grows commonly on grains, such as rye, used for baking bread, or stress-induced mass hysteria, which may be the more likely of the two, as 7 other outbreaks occurred in the same region that had been suffering starvation and disease. The 1374 plague was preceded by one of the worst floods in the century, and nuns' strict lifestyles and feelings of guilt or inadequacy could easily lead to be stressed, dissociative state. In fact, some nuns found to have fallen to this state caused the death of others due to their claims that those were trafficking with Satan or involved in witchcraft. Interestingly enough, it seems that the fact these people believed in evil or divine punishments like this actually made them more susceptible to these dissociative states occurring to them. Despite how outlandish these events were, they were not the only instances of such happenings. In 11th century Coburg, Saxony, it was believed to be the first recorded such event and believed to be a form of divine judgment. More recently, in 1962, near Lake Tanganyika, a laughter epidemic broke out with some girls at a mission school, which spread to surrounding areas. The phenomenon lasted about 18 months. All areas affected were within a 100-mile radius of Bukoba. In all, 14 schools were shut down and 1,000 people were affected. Other outbreaks of laughing have been recorded in both Zambia and Uganda. Schools in Central Africa appear to be especially prone to outbreaks of this mass motor hysteria. A shrinking penis panic of 1967, where 454 men in Singapore claimed their members had shrunk. Nearly 100 sought medical attention, and they called the condition Koro, a delusional disorder in which individuals have overpowering belief that their sex organs are retracting and will disappear. Unfortunately, many performed makeshift self-treatment, i.e. clamps to hold their penises in place or a stake driven through it. Stress here having been caused by the China Cultural Revolution. In the early 1980s, in Malaysia and Singapore, there were instances with factory workers that had been brought in from rural areas